Bonjour mes amis, et bienvenue au Pendu dans la Lune. Hello friends, if this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you certainly know that from that attempt at a French introduction to this video, that this is my series in which I use Tarot de Marseille adjacent, or antique Italian decks to answer a question that I pull from my larger weekly spread. And the larger weekly spread that I've been doing these days is based on the Tree of Life. And it's a doozy. It's a big one. So I do that video in two parts. And then, because it's such a large spread, I want to get a concise message from it. Now, if you haven't seen that spread for this week, I highly recommend going and checking that out so you know the platform from which this video has been launched from. So I'll put a card up here in the screen for you to hop over, look at part one, look at part two, and then come back here so you get an idea of where we're coming from. And just in case you have seen it and you want a brief review of what it was about, basically I titled the video series, two-part video, Relish the Work, because we started off in Kether, in the Ein Sof, in the area where we're not quite able to perceive yet, the thing that's waiting in the wings for us to begin to be able to see, if that makes sense. We started off with the world, yeah? The card of completions and new cycles, things beginning, but also of the divine coming in to manifest in the material world. And we ended up in a card for the 10th house, which is Capricorn. The card of the house of work and enjoying work and getting recognition for the work and success at work and enjoying the things that we're doing. Yeah? So we started off with the divine preparing or coming in, preparing. The divine is never not infused and part of and fully encompassing the material. There is no separation. But the thing that we're beginning to become aware of, or hope to become aware of soon, is that the divine is here manifesting in this world and enjoying the process. And we end up at relishing the work that we're doing, getting recognition for the work we're doing, but more importantly, enjoying what we're doing, enjoying the progress forward. And if we're not, maybe making the changes that would help us to do that, to help us enjoy the work. So that was what that video was about. And we went through a lot of steps to get there. So then what I do now is I pull hopefully a 3 card, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5, a spread helping us to give us a consolidated message from that larger spread. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the question that I ask, which is, what is the central message of this week's Tree of Life spread? And then I'm going to show you the card reading, or the spread that I laid out, and then we'll talk about it. So here we go. Let me begin by asking you what you think about this deck. I think it's beautiful. Unfortunately, the copy that I have is very out of print. Now, this is a reproduction of what's known as the Vandenborre Tarot. It's either a Flemish or a Belgian Tarot. So it's not really French, it's not really Italian, but it's based on the Franco-Italian tarots from before the Golden Dawn and before some of the other continental tarots, like the Egyptian tarots, took off. So it's a beautiful deck. There are copies out there. There are copies on Etsy. There are copies on, I think there's a copy on Make Playing Cards, but the deck that I have is out of print. Very, very out of print. It's very interesting. It's on paper that's kind of like a cardboard box for a cereal, like Kellogg's Cornflakes or Frosted Flakes or something like that. It has that feel of a cereal box, interestingly, but it's easy to shuffle. It's held up pretty well, and I like the color palette. I like the simplicity and the cleanness of the lines of this deck. Now, I'm sure it's not a facsimile. This is also a redrawing of the original. So getting it on Etsy would not be better or worse than the copy that I have. Just saying. So again, what did we just look at? The question was, what is the central message of this week's Tree of Life spread? And you noticed, I'm sure, that we had two suits in four, count them 4 cards, right? Yeah. So I did a 3-card spread. Yeah. I did a spread of from left to right of the 6 of Cups, then the King of Swords, and then the King of Cups, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah. 2 kings, both of them facing the 6 of Cups. But you'll notice that their bodies are pointed in the other direction. Their faces are pointed to the left, but their bodies are pointed to the right. And I thought, well, so they're looking to the left, but they're moving to the right. That's the story that I'm getting from this spread. And so I decided to pull one more card to see where they're heading. And we're heading towards the 3 of Swords, which is interesting. Yeah? So we've got a lot of emotion and spiritual force with the cups, and we've got a lot of mind and vision in the swords. We don't have any discs. We don't have any wands. Something to take note of. But because we're not missing one suit in 4 cards, we're missing 2. I think rather than saying that we're lacking something, I think this spread is telling us that the heart and mind are emphasized here, right? So we're going to start from left to right because I think we want to. No, I'm sorry. We're going to start with the kings. We're going to look at who we are and look at the balance of those things, and then we'll look at where they're giving their attention and where they're going. Yes, that makes more sense. I just decided as I was speaking that no, this spread wants to be read differently. So we're going to start with the kings, and we'll start with the first one. We'll start with the King of Swords. Yeah, so here's the King of Swords. Beautiful guy, sitting on his yellow and green throne. Beautiful hat, beautiful sword in one hand and the sheath in the other. And this is the King of Swords. Who is the King of Swords? The King of Swords is the king that is head over heart. Now remember, we're not lacking heart, but in this spread, we've got a good balance of mind and heart, but this portion of the spread is mind over heart. Now it's the skillful handling of words and concepts. Now we can think, we can communicate clearly. We can go beyond thought as well. Yeah, we're not limited to the thoughts that are in our heads. We can go beyond thought into the unknown. We can leap into the unknown. This king is an enlightened ruler. Now this king leads not with the heart so much, but with a clear mind. A scientific thinker. A little bit Aquarian, perhaps. And this king puts thought into action, which is something an Aquarius is called to do. Yeah, Aquarians can often get stuck in the concept and relishing the thoughts and forget to do something with them. But this king is able to do that work, is able to put the thoughts into action as well. Move into the disc suit, perhaps. So we've got this king, this powerful being who is not controlled by emotion, but is able to not control emotion, but to rule himself over the emotions that exist within and the emotions that exist in the environment, and is able to surf that wave with the clarity of mind. rather than having those waves of emotion affecting and causing turbulence in the mind. That makes sense, right? And this king can go beyond, again, into the unknown, can move into areas that are uncharted, seas that are uncharted, adding a little bit of that water there into this idea. And again, is enlightened, is not dragged down by things that have been or conditions that exist now. This king is open to new thoughts, to new ideas, but also to learning from the past. That is the quintessence of enlightenment, right? The enlightened being doesn't ignore the things that have happened before. The enlightened being is the one who is able to perceive 360 degrees, is not weighed down by what that person sees, but is able to stay present in the now, and you take advantage of all of that information from the past, from what they see coming in the future, and what is happening around them in the now. So we pair this king with this king, right? The King of Cups. A very formidable looking king of emotion and spiritual insight. And you'll notice that this king's cup is covered. Not all king's cups are covered, but this one has a cap on the cup. There's a cap on the cup of the King of Cups. And so, who is this king? Now, kings of cups are the wisdom rulers, right? They use the wisdom from deep inner resources and from outer knowledge. They have a well of wisdom, a font of wisdom, all of those water things, right? They are compassionate, they are balanced. Now, they are not rocked by the emotional turmoil that might exist. That is not necessarily existing, but if it does exist, they're not rocked by the emotional turmoil around themselves. They are balanced, they're centered, they're holding their cup steadily. And yet they have a big heart. They're generous, they're compassionate. They give love, they give interest. They enjoy living, they enjoy life. And they have the serenity of mastered emotions, which is a good balance to this King of Swords, right? This king is also emotionally balanced, but this king takes more, takes advantage of the information that they get from their emotions, whereas this king surfs on the surface of the emotions and looks forward. Now, this king, the King of Cups, right? Yep, the King of Cups is also open to the new with prudence. Actions based on a loving vision of the world is where this king comes from. But again, we have prudence. The prudence is, I think, shown by the cup being capped in this card. So this king is prudent, which is a good balance to this king who might be interested in leaping into the unknown, even though it is unknown. This king is a little bit prudent, but is able to move beyond what is known as well, prudently. Open to the new with prudence. So these two cards, I think, temper each other. We have the vision, the wisdom, the progressive thinking, and the compassion, the joy of living, the joy of the present, the balance that is useful in surfing the surface of waves that might become turbulent. So these two kings together, working in concert, whether they are aspects of self or us with another, are very beneficial. And what's on these kings' mind? Well, the thing that's on these kings' mind, I'm saying king's mind specifically because I think these two kings are aspects of self. So, one mind with two aspects, mind and heart. They're both looking to heart, right? They're looking to the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is happy relationships, our relationships in all of their aspects, our relationships with others, our relationship with self. Yeah, it would have been really interesting if these two kings had been flanking this card, I think. But you know, in retrospect, if they had been flanking this card, something like this, we would have gotten one king paying attention to this and one king looking away. Yeah? Which I don't think would have been beneficial. Or we would have seen a little bit of conflict there that doesn't exist when we've got both kings looking in the same direction. So I think the way that these cards were laid out in retrospect was the best. So they're both paying attention to happy relationships, relationships with other people, internal relationships, relationship with self, and relationship with the divine. Joy in socializing, pleasure in love and in community. Yeah, we enjoy being with each other. We're not only happy when we're relating with people, we enjoy the action of interpersonal relationships. We feel love for ourselves in fullness and acceptance and our inner contact with the divine. Because again, we have a clear, open, fulfilling, and perhaps even fulfilled relationship with the divine in this card. The beauty of love in all of its aspects. It's meeting and accepting the other. Mirror relationships as well. We can think of this decoration in between as the mirror, looking at self, or the mirror of the other. I'm sorry, let me say that again. This mirror could be looking at a mirror at the self, or it could be the other being the mirror of the self. Does that make sense? Have you heard that before? That our encounters with other people give us information about us. Much more than we really get full information about the other. Yeah, it's in our contact with other that we see the reflection of ourselves projected and reflected back. So, here we meet the other. That other could be aspect of self, or it could be self reflected back by the other. And relationships between generations are possible here. Love, including intelligence, heart, and instinct. Yeah, the fullness of love. Not just romantic love is wonderful, parental love is wonderful, but this is the fullness of all aspects of love here, which include both the mind activated in and by love, the heart activated in and by love, and our instincts, yeah, the unconscious also activated in and by love. We see 3 levels of loving interaction here, which makes sense because we have two aspects of self looking at this one card. You have the mind and we have the heart. And the King of Cups can also be that unconscious, the watery, unconscious, subconscious realm as well, right? So these two kings are looking at their interaction and their interaction with the world. And they're considering that, and they're pondering that. And they're ready to move out into doing the work. And they move out into the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is presenting ideas and getting feedback. The Three of Swords is the first communication of those thoughts and developing ideas that were growing in both the Ace and Two of Swords before this card. They're the ideas which blossom and develop into things that can be done in the real world. It could also be a passion for study, It could be discernment between believing, or the lack of discernment between believing and knowing. Now, this is still a fairly immature card, right? It's not the 4, the 5, or the 6. This is the 3. So there's a little bit of immaturity in this card as well. But it's blossoming, it's growing, it's bursting forth and ready to move out into the world. There's a desire for intellectual development in this card. Now, the King of Swords knows in his or her or their enlightenment that there is still more to learn, and that is indicated here. The King of Cups also knows that there's more to learn here, and that's why the King of Cups is also open to the new and moving into things that are not fully known yet with prudence. Because the King of Cups also knows that there's stuff to learn out there. Which is interesting. Now, why is this the central message to the spread for this week, which was about coming into our understanding of the potential for joy and enjoyment of the work that we are doing here in the physical realm as spiritual beings having a physically human experience and enjoying that. I think this series of 4 cards is telling us that it's a mental, emotional, that it's a heart and mind journey. Yeah? The King of Cups is also the King of Spirit, is the King of the divine entering the physical realm, of our connection with the divine, which is also emphasized in this card as well, right? So the kernel, the central message for this week's spread is for us to give attention to our inner relationship of heart and mind, to get that relationship clear and clean, so that it's a clear channel of information from the external realm and from the divine realm. And information is not all just like words or data. It's also the water of heart. That is also information. Divine spiritual information is the information that we also feel as emotion. Now, information is not all digital data in the brain, right? Information is also the liquid information of heart and soul. So getting those aspects in concert and in right relationship, in open, loving relationship, will allow for that breakthrough of understanding and thought, even though it's immature for us, as we do the work of being spiritual beings having a human experience. Because this is a life of heart and mind, right? In the physical and with the passions of the wands and with the material stuff of the coins, the discs. This is really a heart-mind journey, a mental emotional journey. Living an intentional life is a mental emotional journey of experiences in the physical with the passion, the fire of the wands. And though I really truly believe that the order of the elements begins with fire and then moves into water, its partner, and those two create air, which marries earth, mind marries the material and creates our existence. I mean, that's the way I see the interaction of elements as they divide from the monad of the one of the divine. And yet, still, our experience of being spirit in these physical bodies, having human experience, is primarily heart-mind experience that affects both our somatic experience of the world, our physical experience of the world, and our passionate drive to keep moving forward. Our navigator is the heart-mind balance. And I think that's what this spread is pointing to as we relish the work that we're doing here in the physical realm. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. It kind of makes sense to me. It was a little bit of a surprising reading, I think, for me, that took a little bit of working through as I worked through with you here on camera. But I think we came to the right spot with this video. And I hope you think so too. So friends, here we are. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Does that make sense? Do you have this deck? Do you love working with this deck as much as I do? Let me know in the comments below. And please hit the thumbs up button. It really helps the channel. It draws YouTube's algorithm, notices those thumbs up and puts the video out in front of more people if those thumbs are there. So just saying, it would help the channel. And also, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. And if you want a reading from me, my email address is below. thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com. Send me an email, we'll get you a reading. Whatever you want, whether it's Tarot de Marseille, antique Italian deck style reading, or if you want a more Golden Dawn system based reading, like with a Smith-Waite deck, an RWS deck, or a Thoth deck, a big spread, a little spread, anything is possible. Just let me know. And friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.